In September 2008, Suzanne Collins first published The Hunger Games, a young adult dystopian thriller where children fight to the death for a televised spectacle. This story since then has become a best-selling trilogy along with a prequel following the series' main antagonist and a film series. Now Suzanne Collins has published Sunrise on the Reaping, a new prequel which shows how Hamish Abernathy became victor in the court of will. And then this video, I finally get to read it.
The time has come. We're here. It's happening. It's time to read Sunrise on the Reaping and get emotionally damaged while doing it. So, we have finally hit the moment of this string of me getting through my TBR and reading every book that I could get my little hot hands on to getting around to this new Hunger Games prequel book by Suzanne Collins. So before I jump into this, hello, welcome if you're new here, or welcome back if you're returning. We're getting into Suzanne Collins' new Hunger Games book, and just a little side note, if you have no idea what the Hunger Games is, and you have not heard of this book, first of all, please go read the original Hunger Games books, because it will help explain a lot about what's happening here. But if you have read the books and you've gone everything up through Mockingjay and The Battle of Song Bridges and Stakes, then go ahead and keep watching. Just to kind of summarize real quick, this is following Hamish Abernathy's games in the 50th Quarter Quell. So we already know who he is from the first book, because he's Katniss Peeta's mentor, so this is kind of his background on why he is the way he is and what events led him to where he is and what events happened. Hold on, I'm trying to think of how to explain this. But in case you need a refresher on the series, this is following the games for Hamish Abernathy, who is Katniss and Peeta's mentor in District 12. He is I think the only living victor from District 12, because I won't get into that right now. But this is following his games in the 50th Quarter Quell, where instead of having 2 tributes from each district, they have 4. So that means 2 girls, 2 boys. So Hamish is one of the tributes that's reaped into the 50th games. And his games are touched on a little bit in Catching Fire. So I would highly probably recommend that you freshen up on that book, or at least reread it or rewatch the movies. It doesn't explain a whole lot in the movies, but the books definitely give you a little insight on Hamish's games, which are, I'm hoping, go into more detail for this book. And beyond that, it also talks about more of the world that they're in and questioning who to believe and where to trust the resources that are coming out of people and media and all that. So I am very excited. I am scared, but I have been waiting to read this since I've heard about it, I think last year, and I know it's been out for a couple weeks, but I am very much looking forward to really sitting down and getting to read this. My main dilemma right now is trying to figure out if I want to just sit down and binge the whole thing, or really slow down and take my time with it, so that way I can actually understand the points that Suzanne Collins is trying to make with this book, and to catch on little key elements or recurring themes and motifs and metaphors. I think probably my best strategy for getting through this book is maybe kind of do a hybrid of both, where if it's something that's like action-packed, that I'll obviously get through it quickly, but there's something that I feel like is going to be important that I'll really take time to kind of sit down with it and process it. And again, I know I just bought this book and it's all mint and brand new, but I'm kind of also trying to determine if I want to annotate this. I don't know yet. Again, I'm going to play it by ear. The important part is that I'm finally getting to this, and I've been trying to dodge spoilers like crazy online. Anytime I've seen anything related to this book, I've just been having to like scroll like crazy to get away, but now that I'm finally getting to this, hopefully when I'm done, that I can finally start engaging with all that content online and really look at other people's series and see what other points that they brought up or what they liked, what could be better. I don't know. I really am trying to avoid all reviews and all that. All I just know is that it's emotionally devastating and it's making people cry. So that's the only thing I'm aware of right now. So here's my game plan. It's currently about 2:15 right now. I know I also want to spend some time outside and go for a walk. So I'm thinking I'll read this for probably about an hour and then give myself a little bit of time to kind of just digest on everything I read, go for a walk, come back, and then keep going with this. My goal for this book is that I'm going to try to finish it by the end of this weekend or going into next week, because I do have a trip that I'm going on next weekend and I want to have this done, but I also want to give it the time that it deserves to really fully process the content in here. That's my plan. So here we go. Sunrise on the reaping. May the odds be ever in my favor. Okay, this isn't an update for the reading, but I'm just looking at this cover, and why am I noticing this? What is that? What is that? Is that lightning? Is that crackling of a dome? What is that? What is that? I'm scared. Oh no. Oh no. Suzanne, why are you doing this? I'm not even on the... I haven't even started this and I'm already scared. I'm only a chapter into this book and I've already got like 5 tabs just from the first chapter alone. The majority of these tabs are primarily just like throwbacks to the rest of the series and like little allusions to that. But I think there's also a part that I put in here. No, that's just another note that I made for like, oh my god, wait, it's this character. So, oh my gosh. Yeah, again, I'm only a chapter into this. The reaping is happening. And I don't know how to explain what's going on without spoiling it, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. Because I want to talk about this. Honestly, I don't know if this is going to be a spoiler-free or full tilt spoiler video. I don't know. It's going to be determined. I think it just really depends on what I end up talking about and the more I read. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go take a shower, get the skunk. Actually, you know what? No, it's actually really nice out. I think I'm gonna go to the pool, maybe. Anyway, I'm gonna figure out something. Either way, I'm gonna either spend more time outside and then wash up, or I'm gonna wash up and then keep reading this book. Either way, we're jumping back into Hamich's story. Okay, it's now a little bit later into Saturday. I did end up going to the pool and I did some reading while I was out there, and then I came back, took a shower, did some travel plans with my sister, and then I am still going with this book. So I am now on chapter 5, so I'm about 50 to 60 pages into this so far. Yeah, first of all, holy heck, and oh my gosh. Like, this is kind of scary to talk about, but from where we see the games being developed over time, and this series is fascinating, but also kind of terrifying, because when you first read the Hunger Games book, the way that Katniss and Peeta sort of get treated when they're initially going into the capital for the first time is so different compared to how Lucy Gray and the other tributes in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and even Haymitch and his fellow tributes in this book get treated. And it's just, I don't even know how to describe it, because the way that Lucy Gray and the others get treated in the prequel for Snow, like, they're pretty much, like, not even given, like, special VIP treatment. Like, they're really just, like, rounded up in cattle cars and sort of just shoved in there with no regard for their appearance. But that's when you start seeing, okay, the bringing in of the mentors and the interviewing and the sponsorships. So it's starting to kind of develop a little bit, and then with this, you're sort of getting in between. That's kind of all I could say, is like it's in between, and they're very much trying to step up the image of the tributes, but they're not exactly caring if they live or die. Like, if they step or do the wrong thing, then yeah, they're gonna essentially abuse them, to put it lightly. But it's just, oh my god. Like, it's sad because you know that Katniss and Peeta have it better than the others, but at the same time, it makes you realize how much Snow and the Capitol are really trying to up the image of the games, because it's Snow's whole point in Battle of Songbirds and Snakes, that the games are there to remind people that they could go savage mode any moment, and the world is an arena, and anyone could be like the tributes at any moment, and that's why they need to have it games. And it's just, oh my god. And you see that a little bit in this book, that their capital person, I think her name's Drusilla in this book, she's kind of like their Effie Trinket, and the way that she acts is kind of along that mentality. But yet again, we haven't seen Snow yet, but we have met Katniss and Peeta's parents, and Haymitch's girlfriend, Lenore Dove. She's part of the Covey, which is still referenced, which I was kind of shocked about, because I was not expecting them to pop back up. I mean, granted, like, the characters that were in Songbirds and Snakes are not in this book, but to still see that culture being alive was a very pleasant surprise, and it's good to see that, despite knowing what's going to happen to Haymitch's friends and his family. Which is another thing, too, that I want to quickly touch on. That, and this is probably like spoilers for the original Hunger Games trilogy, so if you have not read it yet, then this is going to be a spoiler. Anyway, in Catching Fire, when Katniss and Peeta are going over Haymitch's games and how he won, and eventually learning what happened as a result of his winning, unfortunately, you already know what's going to happen to his family and what's going to happen to Lenore Dove, but it's seeing more of how it leads up to this in this book, which, again, I have not gotten to the end because I'm only still like 60 pages in, but just even seeing him talk about his family and the way he loves Lenore Dove and the way he loves his brother Sid and his ma, it's, I don't even know how to describe it in words, because the descriptions and the details and the memories that he shares with us on the page, and what Suzanne Collins chooses to utilize and focus on instead of the harrowing war stuff, that it's talking about what are the passions that the family talks about, or how Lenore Dove's voice sounds, or the song she sings about. It's highlighting those lighter moments in darker times, even though you know what their fates are going to end up being. And I think that just makes this so much more heartbreaking. I don't know how I'm going to react when it finally does get to that point that Haymitch references in Catching Fire, so yeah. Also, Platorch Heavensby, who's the game maker in Catching Fire, he's kind of like their peacekeeper in this book, which I was not expecting. So that's gonna be fun. And I feel like, from what I at least have seen on Instagram, and I guess like some of the other tribute victors from the other books are gonna be in this, so I don't know. I can't say at the top of my head who it's gonna be, but that'll be very interesting to see them pop up if they do pop up. Yeah, so they just got to the Capitol. I'm gonna keep going, and hopefully I am not an emotional wreck by the end of the night. Before I forget, you know how Haymitch calls Katniss sweetheart? Okay, I can't keep talking about this. I just need to shut up and keep reading. Alright, bye. Fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Alright friends, good morning. I am officially at the halfway point for this book. So, oh my gosh, there is a lot happening in here. They're not even at the games yet. They literally just finished up the interviews. And again, it's just insane to see what was going on during Lucy Gray and Haymitch's times versus what Katniss and Peter are going through right now. And I know you probably saw my reactions during the reading this morning, but there's just, it yet again reinforces why Snow is so despisable and why he is so malicious. And it's just, oh my gosh, okay. Yeah, no, but it's still getting very good. And again, you know how it's going to end. We know Haymitch is going to be the victor, but it's just seeing everything else play out around it. It's, oh my god, it's, yeah, no, I literally cannot describe it in words, my emotions right now. Again, I don't even know how I'm going to be able to recover after this, but yeah, no, I'm going to go keep reading, but I do need to go run some errands this morning. I know I need to get some groceries, so I figured I'll probably go out somewhere, get some coffee and some breakfast, and get a little bit of computer work done, and then eventually go and keep running my errands. But I'm hoping that I could squeeze in more time to read this book while I'm doing my work, so fingers crossed. What old friend? What old friend? Okay, we finally are in the games themselves. Oh my god. It's like we're not even like 2 chapters into the games already, and that's all I can do right now is okay, I'm gonna go to bed and keep reading this in the morning because I have to be at work in the morning, and I need to process this. Alright, hello friends, we're now on Monday night. I have gotten a little bit more reading done, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse. I almost cried a couple times earlier this evening. So, I don't know how much more I'm gonna be able to get going before I head off to bed. But the book is actually beautiful. It's just like the events are just becoming a lot more gruesome. That's what I mean. The book is fantastic. Suzanne... No. Oh no. Oh no. Good morning, everyone. It's now Tuesday, and I only have like 40 pages left of Sunrise on the Reaping. I think I'm probably gonna hold off on reading it until I get back from work because I do not want to be a sobbing mess when I go into the office and have my coworkers be like, Hannah, are you okay? I mean, I could, but I don't want to send anyone into a panic. So that's my plan, but I figured I'd talk to you about some points before I finally get to the end that I found super interesting. So, okay, this might be a spoiler section, so again, I'll put a notice if it is spoilers or not. So, the games, yeah, they get very intense, and because Haymitch is having to basically redo his whole image for the Capitol, that he kind of almost has to be away from the others, which is sad, and it makes you understand why he is such a loner and such a standoffish person in the actual books. But just seeing that actually unfold, it's heartbreaking because you do see him actually interacting with the other tributes and at least trying to help the ones that he can. But even when after he finally wins, oh my god, I mean, seeing how the Capitol portrays it and his commentary of like, wait, they didn't include this, like, what the hell? Oh my god. And the deaths and how they program the Mutts to go after certain tributes. Again, I won't entirely spoil it, just so that way you could be surprised. But explaining how he becomes Victor and how he gets to the force field that allows him to win. Yeah, intense. I'm just at a loss of words right now. It's too early in the morning and I haven't had coffee. I don't know. I think I'm sitting somewhere between a 4 or 5 star for this one. I think it's definitely within the higher 4-star range. I don't know if I love it as much as the original trilogy in Songbirds and Snakes, but this still is very good. But I'm not getting as strong of an emotional reaction like I was expecting. Maybe that was just my expectation that I would be full out sobbing with this novel, but I don't know. It's fine. Either way, it is still very good writing, and Suzanne Collins is doing a very excellent job of talking about how the media spins things to portray a certain image, and despite having all these facts that they're going to spin in a certain way to push a certain truth out to the audience, and how damaging that could almost be. So that's been very interesting to see be unfolded. I just know what's going to happen next, and I don't know how it's going to get there. I'm not mentally prepared, so that's why I need to take the morning to relax, and then tonight when I get home from work, I will then finish this book. 40 pages left. Let's do this. Okay. It's done. It's probably been about a week since I finished Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, and now that I've had a little bit of time to process the book and sort of consider what my final emotions are, I think I'm finally ready to talk about it. So first and foremost, this is so beautifully written, and Suzanne Collins has such power with her words and how she chooses to phrase things and how she weaves a story together. Seeing what led up to Haymitch's current state in the original trilogy was just, you are going to be emotionally devastated after reading this book and seeing the trauma that he undergoes and why it makes him the way he does and why he interacts with the characters the way he does in the trilogy. I will say probably a couple of my major setbacks for this, and please understand, it's nothing against Suzanne Collins. I think it was just more of my expectations about it. I sort of hate to say that I wasn't outright sobbing at the end. Like, I know I got mournful and I sort of just had to like sit in silence for a couple of minutes after finishing this, as you probably saw in the clip, but I think I was expecting more emotion out of me and I just wasn't feeling it, and I don't know if that was just me or knowing that we already know what happens and you can't really do anything about it. Again, I don't know. And I think there were parts where maybe it kind of got, like, some of the songs at the end kind of got a little repetitive. And again, it's not a bad thing. It's a good refresher for those that haven't read the trilogy or Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes in a while. But I think it was because I was so used to it already from the movies that I felt like I just needed to skip. And again, it's not anything against Suzanne Collins. I think it's just more of a me thing. But either way, I still enjoyed this. I think I just don't know if I loved it as much as I did the original trilogy or the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. But it's still phenomenal, and I would still highly recommend you read this. So my final rating is going to be a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So that's that, and I am very glad I read this. I don't have the FOMO anymore. And Hunger Games series is still a phenomenal series, and it should be read by anyone. And it just goes beyond the whole young adult romance and the dystopian world that it talks about so much in the series. So no matter where you are in the Hunger Games fandom, like this, Suzanne Collins just has built this world that's so bleak and dismal and yet filled with so much hope. Like, what got me more was the epilogue and what Suzanne wrote in her acknowledgments. That this line almost kind of got to me where she says, and I'm just going to read it because I loved it so much, so I'm just going to read it to you. To all my wonderful readers, thanks for once again returning to Panem and investing in these characters and their struggles, even when you know the eventual outcome. The snow may fall, but the sun also rises. Like, that, I think, sums up the whole Hunger Games series in a nutshell, because even with all these dark things happening, there still is some light at the end of the tunnel if you're willing to go out and get it. That's it. That's me reading Sunrise on the Reaping and marking off another book off my TBR. So, thank you for watching. Go read the book if I haven't spoiled it for you yet, or tell me your thoughts in the comments, and I'm more than happy to discuss them with you, or explain some more points of view that I found, or share what I thought was awesome, or what you thought was awesome. So I'm happy to network with that. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. So that's it. Bye!